Okay, now we're doing a quick review of dividing fractions. So look at 8e16. We're looking at 1/3 divided by 1/5. Make sure and look at the operation sign in between the fractions. Are you adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Adding and subtracting, you make a common denominator. Multiplying fractions, you multiply straight across. Dividing fractions, I'm going to go through two ways of doing it, and eventually you're just going to do the shortcut way, but I'm teaching this first way with the rule of 4 of making common denominator only because the book does it. Okay, so this first way of 1/3 divided by 1/5, we're going to make a common denominator just like we do when we add fractions. So what do? You take this number and multiply it to this fraction. Then you take this number and multiply it to the other fraction. So then your new fraction here is 5/15 divided by 3/15. Now, if you just divide straight across, you have, I'm going to write it horizontally, 5 divided by 3 over 15 divided by 15. Well, what is 15 divided by 15? Any number divided by itself is 1, and then the numerator leaves us 5 divided by 3. When you have a denominator as 1, you don't have to write that. So basically your answer is 5 divided by 3, or we can write it as 5 divided by 3. And then that's an improper fraction. They probably will change it back into a mixed number. 3 goes into 5 one time, and then there's 2 left over, and the denominator stays the same. So 5/3 is the same as 1 2/3. Okay, the shortcut way. 1/3 divided by 1/5. So there's two different little rhymes you can learn on the shortcut. This is what I learned when I was in elementary. When dividing by fractions, don't ask why, flip-flop the second and multiply. Or there's this one. Keep, change, flip. Yeah, that's the action. Everybody knows we're dividing by fractions. So keep, change. I'm going to put C for change, and then flip. Keep, change, flip. So keep the first fraction, change this into multiplication, and then flip the second one. In other words, take your fraction and just flip it over. You do the reciprocal. Flipping it is called the reciprocal. So it becomes 5/1. Now we're multiplying. You just multiply straight across. 1 times 5, 5. 3 times 1, 3. And then you see we get the same answer as we did above. This is the shortcut way. This is how I'm going to do them from here on out. So look at 8E number 18. And in your homework, I'm okay that you do them the shortcut way. 2/3 divided by 1/6. Keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. Okay, so then that becomes keep that one, change this to a multiplication sign, flip the second fraction. You flip the second one, so that would be 6/1. Now you multiply straight across, but also when you multiply, look to see if you can cancel or reduce from numerator to denominator. 3 and 6, we can reduce those both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now we just multiply straight across. 2 times 2, 4. 1 times 1, 1. 4 divided by 1 is just 4. Don't have to write it over 1. Look at 8F18. 6/7 divided by 2/7. Keep, change, flip. If you write this down every time, it'll go into your head and you will remember. Keep, change, flip. So keep the first fraction, change this to a multiplication, flip the second one, basically turn it over, 7/2. Now you multiply straight across, or if you reduce in the problem, you won't have to reduce at the end. 2 and 6, we can reduce those both by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2, 3. 7 and 7 both can reduce by 7, so that becomes a 1, and that becomes a 1. Now multiply straight across. 3 times 1, 3. 1 times 1, 1. 3 divided by 1, 3. If you multiply straight across, 6/7 times 7/2, and you do that without reducing, 6 times 7, 42. Then 7 times 2, 14. then you would need to go through the process of reducing it. When you reduce it, you'll end up with the same answer. That's why reducing in the problem is easier. You have smaller numbers to multiply.